So today I am going to present the first of a series of our webinars presenting our different partners in South America and Costa Rica, probably on a weekly basis, perhaps every 10 days. And today I'm going to start with Tierra Atacama. As many of you will already know, I am the UK market manager for Senderos. I work very closely with Simon and Gareth, and they are the directors of Senderos, and I do most of the work with the UK tour operators with training, presentations, presenting owners and market managers of our partners, as well as organising fam trips. I already know quite a few of you, but this is just an introduction for those who don't know me. And one other thing to mention is that we are kind of very discerning about who we work with out in South America and Central and Costa Rica. And most of our partners, if not all, have a strong focus on sustainability, responsibility in tourism and travel, and also conservation. So in this webinar, I'll give a detailed overview of the hotel and its facilities, which should take just about 30 minutes. And then there'll be time for a quick Q&A afterwards in the chat box. If you have any specific questions regarding the hotel's COVID protocols, as well as any current, just going to make sure that people can enter when they want to now, so I'm not interrupted every 2 minutes. I hope that's worked. So yeah, if you have any specific questions regarding the hotel's COVID protocols or the current terms and conditions, flexibility of booking, which I know everybody will kind of perhaps have queries about at the moment in this current climate, this is something I can shed a bit of light on. But I'll also be able to, as it's quite a detailed thing, I'll be able to include links and documents on this in the follow-up email, together with a recording of the webinar. So the 3 Tierra hotels. The Tierra chain is really about, they've got an ethos about combining like really great outdoor adventure and activities in incredible locations, but combining this with really excellent indoor comforts and hospitality. And all have a really strong focus on taking inspiration from their surrounding environments and landscape. This is definitely shown through their design, architecture, and overall ethos. To put the 3 different properties into context, Tierra Atacama, which is obviously located in the Atacama Desert in the far northern region of Chile, has 32 rooms with 2 family rooms. Tierra Patagonia, on the edge of Torres del Paine, has 40 rooms in 3 categories. And Tierra Chiloé, on the island of Chiloé in the Lake District, is the smallest with 24 rooms in 3 categories. So I'll be presenting Tierra Atacama, which is located on the outskirts of the town of San Pedro de Atacama. San Pedro is about an hour and a half drive from Calama Airport, with many flights a day coming in from Santiago. The 32-room boutique hotel offers incredible uninterrupted views of the Andean mountain range, with Lecanco border volcano standing out as a silhouette and landmark against the sky, and is designed with this wonderful architecture, interior styles taken from the Atacamanian influences. I can give it like a quick overview about why we think the hotel is quite unique to this area. It's actually one of the only hotels in South America, plus one of the only pioneering hotels in South America to produce more than half of its own energy through solar power, through its own solar power. So this is using no fossil fuels. And this is thanks to 900 photovoltaic panels and a lithium battery system installed on their property. Also, 100% of the water that the hotel uses comes from their own source, their own well, so that's not interrupting the town's supply. And so this water supplies water for the drinking water, as well as all the rooms and the Uma Spa. They also have an indoor heated swimming pool, which is something that's quite unique to the area. And they have these beautiful fire pits as well, which we believe is something that the hotel can offer, which is quite unusual. As many of you will already know, the landscape and geography of the Atacama Desert is rocky and lunar-esque, very kind of reminiscent of the moon, you might say, and the area is often cited to be one of the driest places on Earth. It's surrounded by the Andean mountain range and volcanoes, which also form the border with Bolivia to the north. And the desert's driest landscape allows for some of the clearest night skies in the world. The weather here is mainly pleasant and dry all year round, so any month is a good month to travel to Tierra Atacama. Some rain might fall during the Andean winter, so that's between January and April, and some rain and snow that can be seen mostly in the high mountains. Although this should rarely affect the travel experience in San Pedro, it does mean that some of the high altitude excursions may be suspended as the roads sometimes become inaccessible. But this is something that your DMC should be able to advise in advance when there are issues with the weather. So desert temperatures vary greatly following the rising and setting of the sun, so day to night. And so we would recommend everyone who visits this area dresses in as many layers as they can. And so particularly because the night temperatures in winter can get very cold. So winter is considered June to September. So I'm sure you will be advising your clients to take sunblock, sunglasses and sun hats, as they are kind of essential at any time of the year. As it's a wild and wonderful place which offers such amazing eye-opening experiences and jaw-dropping landscape, it's a small sacrifice to make, really. In regards to the flora and fauna here, visitors will notice some incredible mosses and lichens, and there isn't much in the way of forests or trees, just mainly shrubs and older weathered trees. But in regards to the wildlife, the main animals that can be seen are vicuñas from the llama family, obviously llamas, biscachas, which are large rabbits, foxes, nandus, which are rheas, and then for birds, there's the large carrion birds, and of course the flamingos in the salt plains. So the Tierra hotels were created by the Purcell family, the Chilean Purcell family. They were are the original owners and operators of Ski Portillo, which is the well-known Chilean ski resort near Santiago. They set out to create an ethos of hospitality that would provide excellent food and an incredibly warm welcome, combined with outdoor activities. And so when they expanded their hotel chain to the 3 Tierra hotels, they took this, particularly to Tierra Atacama, where the staff provide guests with experiences that combine outdoor adventure, excuse me. Yeah, if we could wait until the end of the presentation to ask any questions, that would be great. Thank you. So yeah, they combine lots of outdoor adventures and sports with indoor comforts and excellent service and facilities. I think I mentioned in the previous slide that the architecture was inspired by local cultural influences. And so the Purcell family worked with several Chilean designers to show this in the buildings and the interiors, the grounds and spa, through ecological designs and plans that would be permanently sustainable in practice. And they wanted it to blend into the environment as much as possible, but also be kind of unforgettable and admired by the guests who visit the area. So this image shows us the border of the property with the mountain range, Andean mountain range beyond, which the hotel looks out onto. Guests are greeted with this view as soon as they walk into the reception area, which sits just behind the communal seating and dining areas. And through that, you can see this view through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The hotel is open all year round with a minimum of 2 nights stay in the all-inclusive packages. 2 nights is fine. You can do some things in 2 nights, but we would really recommend a 4-night stay to be able to make the most of the area, the facilities, the activities, and also have time to relax. The Tierra chain, so the 3 hotels, also have some promotions and special offers for longer stays, as well as the combinations with the Tierra's other 2 properties. And so we'll move inside the hotel, where we have the restaurant. This occupies half of the large communal area inside, which first greets the guests. Here they serve really healthy, incredible gourmet food using best Chilean produce and locally sourced specialities. The wine list, which is included in the all-inclusive packages, includes a really extensive range of excellent Chilean wines. The only wines which are not included are a list of premium wines and premium spirits. So it's an open bar as well as having a really great list of good Chilean wines included. The food, as I mentioned, is all locally sourced, and a huge proportion of it is organic, with 3-course meals every meal and huge extensive buffets as well. The hotel can also cater for all dietary requirements, and will always offer a good selection of vegetarian and vegan options. This is the other side of the communal area. So the bar separates this kind of comfortable sofa-seated area with the restaurant, where guests can relax with a drink and a book and watch the colours changing in the sky outside. This view out from the communal area faces east, so the mountain ranges to the east. And so with the sun setting behind the hotel, this casts really incredible light and colours and shadows onto the plains and the mountains beyond. So this slide shows us where the rooms are in relation to the rest of the hotel. So up here to the left, we have what they call the Poniente rooms, and below that, these are what they call the Oriente rooms. And here, these walls this is where they have seating area and where the fire pits are lit at night. So all 32 rooms are in one price category. So there isn't a difference in price between the rooms. They're all designed with private terraces, 2 showers, heating, air conditioning, ceiling fan, Wi-Fi, phone, and safe. And the interior decor is inspired by the local artistry and colours. It's important to note that all the rooms have views of the Andean mountains and volcanoes. The Oriente rooms have windows and terraces that face the volcano, and are at ground level, and so with kind of low-lying trees and foliage at eye height. This does make them more kind of secluded and private and protected. And then the Poniente windows of the rooms behind the Oriente rooms, which are slightly elevated, they have these windows which then frame the mountains within that view. And their terraces are at the back of the rooms and face the salt mountains and the vegetable gardens to the west. The family room is at the end of these rooms here. And they face southeast and have views of the Andes and the Lascara volcano. They have twin-bedded rooms downstairs, a view of the garden and no terrace. And all beds in the Oriente and Poniente rooms can be king or twin. So whichever your guests request, they can organise that. 1 extra bed can be fitted into the Oriente rooms, a rollaway, and 2 extra beds for children only in the Poniente rooms. So the interior decor, this is an example of the Oriente rooms, which are 35 meters squared. Is casual and elegant and marked with authentic pieces sourced from local villages. Many of the pieces are made by local communities. So some of the wall hangings, some of the weaving, some of the sculptures. And one thing to note is that just last year, Tierra Atacama launched some new excursions called Heritage Tours. And on these, guests can visit some of the communities that made some of the interior design in these rooms using traditional techniques and knowledge. So it's something the guests can go and learn about. So these are the bathrooms from the Oriente rooms, which are extensive. And here you can see the outdoor shower next to the indoor shower. And this is a view of the terrace from inside the room, where you can slide the doors open and step out. Here you have some deck chairs and an adobe wall seating area with a small fire pit as well. So as you can see, lovely and secluded and private. This is an example of how the two different types of rooms are separated. So here you have these kind of gardens in between the two. On the left here are the Oriente ground floor rooms, and here on the right are the Poniente rooms. Just as a side note, the gardens here are irrigated with some wastewater, but also water that's used from their own well. So this is an example of a Poniente room, which is slightly larger, and this is ideal should an additional bed be required. They feature a private terrace with an outdoor shower overlooking the Salt Mountain range behind, as well as the gardens. And these rooms obviously offer this view of the Cancabal volcano through perfectly framed in their windows. This is an example of how you enter the room. So this is where their terraces are, and their outdoor shower is just beside that. This is the family room terrace at window of the master bedroom, which faces southeast and has views of the Andes, as I mentioned before. So you have the master bedroom upstairs. It's like its own little house in a way. It's got a master bedroom upstairs, and then a bathroom as well, and then a staircase down to 2 ensuite twin rooms downstairs. This is an image of the spa, which they call the Uma Spa. Tierra Atacama Hotel and Spa have what they call an adventure spa philosophy, and actually this is also taken to Tierra Chiloé and Tierra Patagonia. The aim is to create a feeling of kind of good well-being for the guests who can come back from a dusty or bumpy day out in the mountains and desert and enjoy kind of the ritual of cleansing and relaxing before the evening. And this can be through, a dip in the outdoor pool or the indoor heated pool, doing some yoga, having a massage, before settling in for a Tierra curated pisco sour and an excellent meal. Many of the treatments that the hotel offer are based on local desert elements, and all of their products are produced and bought from a Chilean supplier made with organic ingredients. Spa facilities include indoor and outdoor pools, as I mentioned, steam room, jacuzzi, and then they also have these 2 private outdoor hot tubs, which are set on decks, and they can be reserved for couples or individuals who would like to have a bottle of wine or champagne and just watch the sunset behind the mountains. And they do have this other hot tub that's next to the pool as well. The treatment rooms within the spa are really soothing environments with candles, like music and aromatherapy oils. And the hotel also runs yoga sessions first thing in the morning for any guests who would like to join in with those. They can be booked during the guest stay. They don't need to be booked in advance. These fire pits are an excellent way of just relaxing outside and watching the stars or watching the sun go down and the moon rising at night. Guests are provided with blankets, and the fires are lit every evening should anyone wish to kind of sit by them and watch the landscape change. So one of the main reasons of visiting the area is to explore the surrounding kind of landscape, which includes the lakes and mountains and canyons and dunes. So once guests have settled into the hotel, the head guide takes the guests through the different options to plan out what they'd like to do day to day. They will obviously take into account the guest's ability, their interest, and how much time they have at the hotel. So as you will already most likely know, the town of San Pedro sits at 2,400 meters above sea level, with many of the excursions in the surrounding area going up over 4,000 meters. I think Tatio Giza sits at 4,300 meters. So this means there's a good amount of acclimatization that is recommended for some excursions, and the guide will be very kind of aware of how the guests are feeling and will be, tailor the excursions to their needs. So with all inclusive programs, there are 2 half-day or 1 full-day excursion available a day. These can be combined in any way they like. Some half-day excursions can be taken in the morning and then combined with the transfer to the airport in the afternoon as well. So that's make sure that everybody is maximizing their time at the hotel. The average group size is 4 to 6 with a maximum of 8, and there is no minimum, so excursions can go out with one person. There are 3 levels of difficulty associated with some of the excursions, so things like horse riding or bike riding, trekking, and so guests should never feel like they are being pushed to do something that they don't want to do, or if somebody wants to really exert themselves, then they can do that as well. And then private guides are also available at an extra cost, which I'll touch on in just a moment. This is an example of one of the most popular excursions to do in the area. This is Tashio Geysers. So they're located, as I mentioned, about 4,300 meters above sea level in this incredible geothermic field, which has very close links to the volcanic activity in the zone. It is particularly active first thing in the morning, so this will always be an early rise, and then about an hour's journey into the mountains, where guests then have breakfast and watch the activity of the geysers as the sun's rising behind them. And then there's an opportunity to visit a couple of villages on the return journey back to the hotel, where you can spot also lots of different wildlife, including the vicornias and the foxes and the nandu and rhea. And there might be an opportunity also to take a short walk in one of the canyons on the way back as well. Another highlight is visiting the salt flats, which are just south of the town. This is in a huge expansive area of white crisp salt residue underfoot, which also has many huge ponds of water where many of the flamingos gather that come here. 3 of these species of flamingos include the Andean, the Chilean, and the James flamingos. And you can sit for a long time, as long as you like, just watching these and taking photographs and watching them fly overhead. And then going further into the mountain range and desert, you can find some spectacularly colourful high altitude lakes with really incredible rock formations in the mountains that surround them. And quite often with any half-day or even half-day and full-day excursions, the hotel will be sure to put on some food and some refreshments for the guests. And this could be just snacks, all homemade in the kitchen before, or it could be a full meal, so lunch or breakfast. And they make sure they set it up with a beautiful panoramic view. And if you're lucky, you might get a possible llama visit ready to pose for a photograph as well. Another highlight of the area is visiting the Moon Valley, which is particularly popular for sunset. The Moon Valley is an area which consists of these really beautiful, smooth, high dunes with kind of rocky valleys and canyons and tunnels. There are some incredible colours there, and when the sun is setting in this area, it's absolutely spectacular. But as the hotel knows that the area gets particularly busy with tourists around dusk, they do endeavour to find those lesser known spots for the guests to enjoy the peace and tranquility of a sunset. So the experienced guides that lead the walks and hikes and bike rides and horse rides, they also take guests on alternative trips like volcano treks and tours and vehicles to cultural and historical sites. And there are also a number of family-friendly activities with adapted excursions. And as the hotel also caters for children with kids menus and babysitting services. So I mentioned briefly in another slide that Tierra Atacama have also recently opened up some new tours delving into the heritage and culture of the region. These include weaving workshops with local women's cooperatives, and also meals that can be taken with menus made with all local ingredients and traditional methods. There are also healing ceremonies which are with a local shaman, and these include learning about the different flora of the region and the medicinal uses for each plant. And I think that this is a really great opportunity for guests to learn about the customs of the indigenous people who have lived in the region for hundreds of years. And so perhaps creating a bit of more of a worthwhile experience for the guests. So We do recommend staying a bit longer in the area to make the most of the excursions and the facilities, and to also have some relaxation time, like this couple are doing in a thermal lake near San Pedro. This is actually an excursion that you can take by cycling to the lake and then being driven back if you don't feel you've got the energy to do that. But those who want to skip the daily excursions can also look for some inner peace and calm at the hotel. Spend some time in the spa, the swimming pool, they have a library, or just by stretching out on an outdoor bed. They've got hanging chairs as well, or curling up with a book on the living room sofa, or just closing your eyes in the privacy of your own room or terrace. And then lastly, there is an opportunity to stay even longer, perhaps even a week, and take advantage of climbing some of the volcanoes and mountains in the region. These are really quite unique opportunities to be able to do this in one of the driest places in the world. You obviously might need a good level of fitness to be able to do this, but the guides will recommend that you stay a certain amount of time in order to do some practice hikes. This is something that they will need to book in advance, and so if you do have clients interested in this, then that's not a problem. They will just need to know in advance in order to be able to reserve the guides. And then in terms of cost, this will depend on the amount of people who will be wanting to do the excursions, but there is no minimum number of people for private excursions. So they won't have to wait for 2 or 4 people to join, for example. And then, as I mentioned before, the night skies in this area are absolutely spectacular. Almost everybody who visits San Pedro Atacama will take some kind of stargazing or astronomical tour at an observatory. Many of their hotels have their own observatories. Tierra Atacama actually work with a local resident and astronomer, Cesar Anza, and he presents Andean heavens through his own observatory from the classic modern perspective of the universe, but also through the Andean view of the cosmos and the Atacama constellations and associated legends. So it takes the astronomic worldviews or the way traditional Andean communities saw cosmic constellations. Here is an example of the promotions that Tierra Atacama can offer in regards to when clients would like to combine their stay with other Tierra properties. This is actually from last year, and I won't go into the details here. I'll be able to send you this by email should you wish. It's also in our resource center as well. But it's an example if clients did want to stay in 2 or 3 of the properties, then they might get a certain amount of discount, say 10%, but also it might include a night in Santiago as well. So if you'd like to know more about that, then please do let me know. Here I have a slide on the sustainability and conservation practices of Tierra Atacama. Very recently, I think just last week, Tierra Atacama released their sustainability report of all 3 of their hotels, which outlines all of their aims and objectives that they wanted to reach and their actual achievements in their architecture, in their design, in their ethos of working, in the people they work with, in their energy, with plastic waste, with water waste. And it's actually a really good read and in our opinion, extremely important. So there's quite a lot of information there if you want to include that in your product descriptions. And then, as with all of our properties, we have the, just these kind of reduced bullet points on key selling points for each hotel. And I've included here the COVID protocol link at the bottom, so that will take you to the Tierra website, where they outline how they have safeguarded the hotel and the guests in regards to the pandemic and COVID. Okay, that's pretty much an overview of Tierra Atacama. I hope you've enjoyed that. So here on this slide, you'll be able to see that we have our online resources here. And then here is a list of the different properties that we are working with at the moment. I will be, as I mentioned, going through this list and doing a webinar every once in a while, perhaps every week, on each of these. So please make sure you do sign up for them. They'll also be posted on our YouTube channel. And we have just launched also our Senderos Partners Instagram account. So this is what we feel is like an online brochure really for each of our partners. So do be sure to follow us on that.